Okay, here we are now. When we covered all the way down for our preparation for delivering, let's stay focused on the messaging. So, what should be here? What should you think about here? Let's say we are still on the first stage of our preparation period for before your presentation, but we are a little bit closer to the final result, which we expect from ourselves and from our presentation. So let's think about that and let's jump into that process. When it comes to our messaging, let's get back to our first and previous experience of presenting. Think about what do you think is the most important part for you being a TV presenter and facing the camera or facing the audience. What is the most important part for you for being a very confident and bright speaker? Think about that. I would rather tell you that you have three options here to choose. You have opening, you have main body, and you have closing part. Every presentation should be connected and consists of three parts. Opening, when you make greetings to your audience, when you state which show is that, which presentation is that, maybe why are you presenting this presentation now, and who will be your audience. All of that moments should be covered here in the first part of your opening. Opening for your presentation is step number one in your presentation every time. It doesn't matter if your presentation take 15 seconds or 15 minutes or 2 hours. Opening will be the starting point every time. Then we move forward and think about main body. Main body is the main part, like a structure of your program. It depends on the format, actually. If there is an interview or a late night show, you have the structure, which type of the program stage will be that at that period. So, for example, you will have the part of covering news, breaking news, maybe some funny news, depending on the program format. Then you move forward to your interview part if it's a late night show format, or if it's the program of breaking news, you just cover all the news of the list of news that you have, and you work with teleprompter. Don't forget that during our practical classes, we'll still be able to work with teleprompter as well. So don't be afraid of that format, because you need to know how to improvise in that format, how to be confident in front of the camera while delivering and reading, both reading and delivering information just from your head. It's super easy. It will be super easy for you. So now we're at the main body. My recommendation for you will be, before recording yourself in front of the camera, before presenting, just create the plan. Don't create text. I beg you, don't create text, because while creating text, you'll put yourself in some limits, in borders, and when you start presenting, it definitely will reflect on you, because you will be you will feel yourself in a kind of a trap. That's why I highly recommend you to just create a plan. A plan of not more than 5 points should be covered here and should be created here in order to show your audience that you are confident enough, that you structured all the information for them, and you know what key points and key elements to grab their attention you use. Um, People will always think, and they will always feel where the structure is and where the structure is absent. That's why, even if you cover a kind of storytelling or the story of your life, just follow the plan. Create the plan and create these key points for your audience to be able to follow your ups and downs. Again, ups and downs. It's the art of storytelling. So, my main advice for you, if you create a story, create it very following this a very different part of your presentation, and very obvious difference between your ups and downs. Every story should cover the way, the journey of the main character and other characters, and the main hero, he should go up and then down. in only this case, you are delivering your story. But going back to the main body of your presentation, it should be everything. So main body is just the main key points of your presentation, whatever you would like to tell your audience. And then we transfer and move to the final part. What is final part actually? Final part is the part of your presentation where you need to grab audience attention again. So you grab it 3 times during your presentation. In the opening, then you need to plan some hooks in the main body, and then, which is most important for you, to prepare and create the plan for the closing part. So when I ask you during the class or everywhere, when I ask you, if I ask you what you consider to be the main part for you as a presenter in all of that structure elements, what answer you should give me? That's for sure. It should be the closing part. Maybe you thought like it should be an opening because we need to gather all people together around the screen, or all eyes on you. That's yeah, that's true. But when we start preparing any presentation, we every time we start from the beginning. That's why the beginning points are more powerful and strong for you to rely on than the closing part. The closing part is a final of your program. It's a conclusion, summary. It's an announcement of your next program or next episode. So it should be anything, but you should plan it in advance. If you skip planning your closing part, most of every time it should be like this. It will be like this. Well, this is it for today. I guess this is it because you were not confident if you end here or not. Uh, did you tell everything, or it should be told something more? If you plan your closing part in advance, you will always be able to cover more. You will always be confident in your key points because you always know where you will finish your presentation. So if you're not limited by the time like we are in our practical Zoom classes, it means like if you create your before creating your main body, before creating your opening part, start from the end and then moving backwards. This is my main revolutionary, insightful advice for you. Start creating from the final part. Start creating from the closing part, because if you plan your closing part in advance, it will give you all the confidence that you need to cover the main body and be able to finish anywhere. So, for example, let's make an exercise. For example, you can plan your presentation, which consists of 3 parts: opening, where you make greetings or state what's the program is that, what is the goal of your program. So greetings, and then main body, not more than 5 points, not more than 5 key elements of your plan, your structure, not more than 5. 3 is okay. Like today, I will tell you the main 3 difference between relationships and something else. And closing part will be your go-to points. So let's start planning in advance with your go-to points. So how to end your presentation? If you will cover your, so the exercise is you cover the main body, you use, for example, 5 key elements of your plan, but on the third point, on the third element, you just decide to finish your program. Great, because your conclusion was prepared in advance. And my recommendation for you will not to connect it with the last sentence of the main body. No, it should be something separate. It should be something like a separate presentation, which is, so your presentation, your full program will consist from 3 different short programs. First program, a little kind of a show, will be called opening. Second show will be called main body, and third show will be called closing, the final part. So if we start planning our presentation from the final part, imagine what do you want your audience to do. Let's use active verbs. verbs of action. So you would like them to call you, or to subscribe to your channel, or to follow you. Leave a comment below. Watch next episode. So you need to state some verbs of action here. It's necessary. So just create a list.